what up? This is Brother Homeboy. I don't really make videos, but I just had to clear the air on what happened this morning on a YouTube channel I went on. The person dropped a link and I went to another page and I was talking to a BW. Her name is Faith, like have the faith, but she ain't got no faith. And so I was on her little live stream and I was just telling her about herself, telling BWs to expand your options. You need to expand your options in the kitchen as far as the menu. You're also busy trying to expand options, but you're expanding the wrong options. And I was trying to explain this to her, but she kept cutting me off. You know, feminism, cutting me off. Obviously, BWs and the government are holding us down, brothers. I was trying to educate her on the fact that we got to stick together, but all she's concerned about is telling BWs to get a job and think of themselves. No, you need to be thinking about producing babies. We ain't got enough babies because you all are trying to call yourself being responsible, but the only thing you're doing is causing confusion. It starts with faith and gynocentric nonsense. The manosphere warned me about her, and now I see. That's it. She's talking about she's fair and balanced. If anything, she's a scare imbalance. That's what it is, it's scary. Because stuff that she says on her morning ride, and really it's not even a morning ride, more like a morning nonsense. Every morning, every night, talking about trying to educate the women on their options. No, the only option you need to do is to learn how to increase the cookbook. Y'all ain't cooking, y'all ain't making enough babies, and y'all out here trying to get jobs and make money. First of all, just like I mentioned before, as far as keep the faith, miss unfaithful faith, really, you're unfaithful. All you do is talking about your lies and then say Seer 1, talking about some businesses and property. No, you need to let me manage your businesses and property. That's what you need to do. That's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all too busy being a busybody. And while you're busy being a busybody, that's the reason why the hood is the way it is. So after Faith's morning nonsense this morning, I have to I gotta make this announcement, and the announcement is I can't do nothing but mess with light-skinned. She gotta be lighter than this. 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 This is what it's come down to. Because at first, we were choosing y'all, but y'all ain't choosing us. Y'all ain't choosing the bros. You choosing the government. So now, who we really choose, we gotta choose this. Now I can't mess with nothing but light-skinned. Now I'm red-pilled. I can't mess with nothing but light-skinned because of Faith's morning nonsense. And because of Seer talking about some business and some property. You need to let me manage your stuff. Everybody's getting on these panels, going on, when you know good and well what y'all doing is part of system of oppression. That's what it is. Y'all the reason right there. Because of Faith's morning nonsense, because of Gen J, feminism, all that nonsense, that's the reason why we in the shape that we in now. Because the government came in between us, the BWs and the BMs, and when y'all let the government come in, now everything is messed up. So it's all y'all fault. And you can tell by the interaction I had on the Faith morning nonsense. As soon as she says, and I'm live, she starts nonsense, feminism. That's it. I've never heard a show about making babies, about serving your man, serving your king. I don't hear none of that. All I hear about is nonsense. Nonsense. She went on talking about some Cardi B guy with Offset. Offset is high value, low quality. No, he's high value, high quality. That's that hashtag blame black man. So I'm just putting y'all on notice. Put this channel on notice. It's Faith morning nonsense. Put it on notice. Because it's just a whole bunch of nonsense there. And also, D-Darrell, you need to get red-pilled. You need to stop with the nonsense and get red-pilled. Shout out to Business Minded Talk. He went over the dolls. That's what it's come down to, is you BWs are so awful that now we got to resort to dolls. Hotep out. Hey,
Hey, what's going on? CK here. Hopefully you're having a great day. For this, the dark side of dating, I decided to cam up for the purpose of talking about people who don't cam up when it comes to this dating thing. First and foremost, before we get started, welcome to my channel as the Black Balance Network. We're doing a lot of skits. A lot of people have thought stuff was real. Just know that most of the beefs that you see, they're pretty much going to be skits, and we like to kind of mix it up to kind of surprise you. Shout out to, again, Black Balance Network. That's the Faith Channel, the Darrell, Business Minded Talk, also the Ray the Awareness Channel, and also the Screen Learning Channel. I appreciate you for watching. Also, for my social media, there's Parkland Media YouTube, Plato's Cave YouTube, For the Love of Vegas YouTube, and the Screen Learning YouTube channel. Also, check out the About section of all of my YouTube channels to get all the links to all the different social media that I'm on. And also, check out the political nonsense show that Ray the Awareness Channel and myself do on Thursdays. And check out Business Minded Talk. He does a morning show. Faith does a morning ride. I've been doing skits with Faith. We're going to be doing more skits and more collaborations as a part of being on the Black Balance Network. So for this dark side of dating, we're going to be discussing identity tourism. And that's where you have someone who pretends to be someone else for some type of purpose. So myself, I'm black, I'm a man. So for me to have identity tourism would be like me pretending to be a white woman, or pretending to be a black woman, or pretending to be a white man, and then vice versa. And we're not talking about LGBTQ where people are trans. We're talking about people who are not LGBTQ, but they literally are pretending to be someone else for some type of purpose. You usually see this type of stuff where you're communicating with someone, they don't want to go live, or they don't want to give you a video, they just kind of give you a picture. They may give you a picture or different types of pictures, and what we've seen in YouTube is a lot of people will have avatars. Now, I'm not saying that people who have avatars are going to be what I'm going to discuss, but that's usually one of the signs is communicating with others, they're hiding behind the avatar, and they're dating people. And so you're talking to this person who's behind this avatar, or has not cammed up. In reality, you don't know who you're talking to, because you could be talking to somebody who's from Britain, but they're really a New Yorker. Or you might be talking to a man who's really a woman, or you're talking to a woman who really is a man. And you see this stuff all the time, where people meet on Craigslist, they meet on Facebook, YouTube, they meet off of Bedpage or Backpage. They meet people, and they don't meet them in person. And then they're talking with this person. They believe that this person is one way, but turn out to be another way. And it's called identity tourism. People get to act like a stereotype, but in actuality, they're not really who they say they are. And you see it all the time. And the reason why this is dangerous is because sometimes it can be harmless. I will give that. But most of the time when it comes to the dark aspect of it, you have someone who pretend to be a woman, and they're talking to a man, and they get this man to meet them at a motel or a hotel. And when the man enters the room, it turns out that it really was a man, and he gets set up and robbed, and even worse. Or a situation where it's a woman talking to a man, they finally meet up, and it turns out to be either a different type of man, or it turns out that he's just not what he appeared to be in his picture. There's a lot of aspects to identity tourism, because even though I'm a black man, I could be a black man using another black man's picture to trick you into like meeting me somewhere and then do something to you. Most of the time, when you're talking with someone, is it possible to get to know someone without looking at them? Yes. However, usually if someone doesn't want to cam up at all, or they don't want to do a live stream and be cammed up, and they're sending you a bunch of pictures, or hiding behind the avatar, there's usually a sign they have something to hide. Now, privacy is important. There's a thing with people wanting to maintain and keep their privacy, but if you're trying to keep your privacy and you're trying to be anonymous, we understand. However, it's one thing to discuss subjects with people, it's another to take it into dating. And that's really what the focus is people who are sending you pictures of people who are not them, pretending to be a different gender, pretending to be a different ethnicity, a different race, and then trying to have some type of interaction with you beyond simply calling into a show and jumping on a panel. And usually that's a bad sign. It may even be a setup. We do have to understand that people do want to respect their privacy, but you have to ask yourself, if somebody really is trying to safeguard their privacy, why would they interact with people online to begin with? There's different arguments you can make for yay or nay. Most of the time, when it comes to identity tourism, it's is people who have some type of malicious intent. They're trying to use inflammatory language to start an argument with people, and you're thinking you're talking to someone who is part of a supremacy group who's one race and they're the same race as you. It's a whole lot of things to unpack with identity tourism, and you definitely want to be safe because it's just real easy to put into a compromising situation, and now you're faced with a whole host of different problems. It's not always a one-on-one thing where you meet someone online and then they're not who they say they are, and you meet them in real life and then, you know, something bad happens. Sometimes they even have a network where you're talking to me online, I'm cammed up, and then we exchange phone numbers, and then the person who you're talking to on the phone is somebody different, and then when you meet me somewhere, it's somebody else. Or you're talking to me online, I'm talking to you on the phone, and when it comes time for you to meet me somewhere, someone else is meeting you, and that's really the person I was portraying myself to be, and now something bad happens. It's a lot to unpack with identity tourism. I kind of wanted to do this cammed up where you see my face, simply because identity tourism is really someone having nefarious actions and wanting to be secretive with their identity because they have some type of intention that's not in your best interest. Hopefully this kind of helps you, and we see this with a lot of aspects of blind dating. Back in like high school, somebody would be like, oh, I want to hook you up with my homeboy, hook you up with my homegirl, and you show up and the person is not how they were described, or not the picture, or a whole bunch of different things. And the thing about it is, some people would say, well, what's the big deal? But here's the thing, let's say you meet someone on a dating website. They have the picture, they have a video, they never want to cam up and really show you themselves, and then you meet them in person and they got a whole hunchback. There was a time, another member of BBN, she was saying that she met a guy and dude had a hunchback and he had like a bunch of deformities, and he was doing his camera angle to where you could only see portions of him but you couldn't see the hunchback. She said she met him when she showed up. I guess he thought that she was gonna just go ahead and do the date with him, and she ended up cussing him out and leaving. You see this type of stuff. I think Business Minded Talk has mentioned he experienced that, and maybe D. Durrell. Ray the Awareness Channel, I think she's mentioned this as well. Everybody's experienced this thing where you're talking to somebody and they turn out to not be who they are. It kind of also goes into what I was talking about as far as people wearing a mask. You meet someone, they send their representative, and then after you get married, have a child together, move in together, or you've been in a relationship for like maybe 3 months to 6 months or however, the mask comes off and they reveal their true self. That's a little bit different than identity tourism, because instead of the mask coming off and you see what their intentions are, you talking about somebody who they don't have another mask, they're just a whole other person. It is very disappointing because you're meeting someone, you're really talking to them through email, through this dating site, through a phone call, and then when you show up to try to talk to them, they either have some type of malicious intent or they're not who they say they are. They're like a whole nother gender, a whole nother race. What I think it is that you got some people who they don't like the way they look. They want to be someone else. They kind of want to have a fantasy, and in their mind, they're believing that if they do meet up with you in real life and you see who they really are, you'll be like, okay, I thought you were somebody else, but I'll go ahead and continue to have interaction with you. It's weird that people want to do this. Some people call it catfishing. It has different names, but the formal term of it is identity tourism, and whether you want to call it catfishing, identity tourism, is basically the same thing, in that trying to somewhat portray yourself to be somebody you're not for whatever the intention is. And sometimes it leads to a crime. Other times somebody never really knows or finds out who they're really dealing with, because somebody could say, okay, send me a picture, or send me a picture of a private area, send me a picture of you nude, send me picture, and you could be sending all these pictures and they're sending pictures back. What they may be doing is getting pictures from you when you're doing this picture exchange and this video exchange, and they're saving it, creating profiles under your name or not, but using your pictures, and then going to meet other people. So you do have that as well. You see this a lot with men. They'll get pictures of women, they'll pretend to be women, and they'll go meet other men. And they do this type of thing because they may be a man who wants to have relations with heterosexual men. Because Jeffree Star, he's like that. He likes to have relations with heterosexual men. Also, James Charles, he likes to have relations with heterosexual men. I'm not saying they do identity tourism to get it done, but, and it's just my opinion, but we got so many different categories of what someone is and is not. Anytime you got a man who is putting on makeup to attract heterosexual men, I mean, to me, that's kind of identity tourism, because they're making themselves look more feminine. And if you don't know who they are from seeing them online in the makeup community, you show up and it's like, oh yeah, I was sending you my actual pictures, but it was me dolled up. This is who I really am. And now you're just like, no. Also, you see it with Rachel Dolezal, people who are one race pretending to be another for some type of gain and benefit. It's a really deep subject, and it's something that doesn't get discussed enough. We talk about it being catfishing, but it's kind of a wider scope than just simply catfishing, and we definitely need to have these conversations on replay. So yeah, the person who's doing the identity tourism, whether they're putting on makeup and pretending to be something different or someone else, or they are getting pictures from other people pretending to be someone else, or they're just being someone else using the free pictures that are online, or taking pictures of somebody else and stealing those pictures. However they're getting this other identity than what they really are, they're not coming forward and just saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I am. They're just manipulating the truth in order to take advantage of somebody. I've been hearing things about people who are hiding behind avatars, and while they're on a panel, listening to other people on a panel, they're doing things like, we'll say, self-pleasure. So they're behind an avatar, listening to, let's say, women, for example, and while they're listening to women and they're muted and have the avatar up there, they're pleasuring themselves listening to people on these panels.